All right, so this is a quick review for the Astro A50, almost called it Logitech. I think Logitech actually does own Astro now, but these were made, I believe, before that acquisition. So anyway, sorry, Astro A50 wireless gaming headset. This is the Generation 3 version, the Xbox version. There is also a PS4 version. I haven't tried that one. I'm not much of a console gamer, so this is mostly applying to PC players. If there is enough demand, I will try some of these on consoles, but I do own an Xbox. I do not, Xbox One. I don't have a PS4 at the moment, so if there's enough demand, I may do that, but again, I just don't play enough on there to really have a great opinion for you on that. So, good headset. I have had this about a year, actually, so this review is a little bit after the fact, but this is after living with it for about a year, maybe a little bit more, and it has some really good features. This has been my favorite headset. It has a few flaws, and I'll go through that, but overall it's been a great headset. First of all, it's got a cloth finish here. So cloth on the cups and the top. It's got some good padding. The top does start, I don't know how to describe it. It starts making the top of my head sore a little bit after like 4+ hours. So it takes a long time. It's a very minor complaint, but I thought I'd at least mention it. On a side note, the Gen 4 does not do that same thing for me. So they have improved the design and ergonomics a little bit. On here, you can hopefully see a little bit. It's going to be a little bit difficult here. There is a roller to adjust volume. There is a switch here to adjust equalizer. There's surround sound, and there's power. So we've got all of those. Okay, so this also, so this has infinite roll on the volume adjust. It's great. Equalizer, surround sound, power. And then on the other side, also there's the game and voice balancer. With the two devices in Windows, you can go back and forth and make your voice device louder or quieter, depending on which direction you go here. Very nice to have that just on the headset as a hardware option. This microphone is flipped to mute. I love that. I think all of them should be that way because it's just a natural action. It also lets you know for sure that you're muted and not depending on a little LED that you may not notice. So you got that. It does have a micro USB for charging, so you can use this as a wired headset if you need to in a pinch. The battery life is also very good on this. About 14 hours straight. So heaven help you if you need more than that in a single session. Take a break if you're doing that on a regular basis. Just take a break once in a while. That's all I'm saying. It does take about 4 hours to charge. So, I mean, on a daily basis, you should never be running out on a charge on this for the average person. I'm sure there's extreme cases out there where that's not going to work for somebody, but as far as wireless goes, this is about as good as it gets in my experience so far. There might be some better headsets now. This is, I want to say, about 2 years old at this point, so maybe newer models get a little bit better. But it's really, again, 14 hours, that's a lot. So that should last well. Actually, on a quick side note, the Gen 4 does get slightly better, about 16 hours. So they did improve that. Again, I still think that's just a ridiculously long amount of time. That's great. That's where it should be. And the charging time is slower than I would like, but they don't have like quick chargers for headphones really yet that I've seen. So until we get that, we're just going to have to get used to, kind of the trickle charging. This does do wireless charging. Because it's not what you're thinking. It's not like a Qi pad, like Qi wireless charging that you'd use for your phone or something. It's part of the base. So here's the base here. Oh, I'm gonna drop it like Linus. On the front of it, and it's too bad you can't see this powered on right now, but on the front of it, it will show your battery level. It'll show if surround is on, and I think there's one other indicator. Can't remember. It's not too important. Those are really the two that you care about. And then there is going from Xbox to PC mode. I think Xbox mode just switches it to more of native Xbox One mode to work with it. Haven't used that much. It does have a USB pass-through charging port. I think it's just charging, no data, by the way. Micro USB in for this. That goes, from your PC, from an A connector on your PC to the micro USB here. It's got an optical in and out. It is optical pass-through. This, I use it personally on my PC. You're probably just going to stick with the USB. The USB works fine. And then the optical pass-through is very useful, though, if you're using this on consoles. So you could actually have this in between your console and your stereo, for example, and you could still have full, Dolby sound and everything. So that's actually a pretty cool feature for you console players out there. It also has an auxiliary port. I haven't used that very much. I think you can plug like your phone into it even, actually, and use your phone wirelessly, which is kind of cool. Because it is a mixture microphone and headphone jack, I believe. 3.5 millimeter. So, my complaint with the charging. Getting this to line up and be happy is a chore. This was so close to being perfect. It really was. It was so close to being perfect, and somehow they tripped at the finish line. It's got magnets. They're supposed to suck it into the right spot, and it never seems to get there the first time. I'm always, messing around with it a little bit there to get in the right spot, and then it starts charging. Now, is it enough that I wish that I go and plug in a cord? No, actually. So it's not that obnoxious, but it's obnoxious enough that I really, really was excited for the Gen 4 to come out. And the Gen 4, I think, so far with the little experience I've had with it, and I'll do a more in-depth review later, has fixed this problem. It has a much tighter base design that kind of sucks the cups into the center and right into the charging ports. So I think they've mostly fixed this flaw. It's not a fatal flaw, though. So if you can get this headset for cheap, I still think this is actually one of the best wireless headsets out there for gaming. This is not for audiophile, and I can't stress that enough. I'm not recommending you get this for your, listening to your high-end hi-fi stuff. This is not what it's for. It's made for gaming, and it's made for convenience during gaming. If you need to get up a lot and do stuff while you're gaming, that's what this is for. You will get better quality with wired headsets and an amplifier almost all the time, okay? But for those of us that need the convenience of being able to get up and quickly go somewhere while gaming and not cut off voice chat and everything, that's what this is for. And it does it well. Now, I have experienced some minor annoyances with the 5 gigahertz wireless signal. So once in a while, this will disconnect briefly. And I would say it's like half a second, maybe, and it comes right back. It didn't happen as much at my old house, but in this new house, there's about 4 or 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi networks I could see, including this. Actually, if you get a Wi-Fi scanner, you can actually see this. So it's actually using the same exact spectrum as 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. It doesn't seem to do a good job of getting out of that interference. I assume that when they designed this, they didn't really think that 5 gigahertz interference was going to be a huge issue, which is not necessarily dumb, but as 5 gigahertz has gotten more powerful and more popular, specifically more popular, there's more interference, I think, than they anticipated, even from your own house. So, yeah, that's a minor annoyance, though. I would say 4 hours gaming, it'll happen maybe twice. So it's not a huge deal, but it is worth mentioning. I'm trying to be as thorough as possible. And again, I've had this for a year. The USB driver on here, I think, I said it worked fine, and it did, but I want to say I ran into a weird problem about a year ago that once in a while it would stop playing, and I would have to unplug the base station and plug it back in. I'm not sure if that was a Windows issue or an issue with this. So I switched to using optical out from my built-in sound card to fix that at the time and never switched back. So I can't say if they fixed this with a firmware update or maybe it was a Windows problem and they fixed it in the drivers later. I don't know. The optical pass-through, though, worked really well for me. I also have a PS3 that sits here on my desk. So it made sense for me to have the optical so I could just switch back and forth real quick. I've got a little optical switch, and so I can use both. And anyway, for my setup, it made more sense to go optical. So, and optical was rock solid. There was no problems with that. I never had to reset the base station. Other than that, again, it's a solid headset. A little expensive, though, at $300. Wireless gaming headsets have come a long way, and you can get a lot for like $150. Now, personally, when I was shopping for this and bought this, I had a lot of other headsets I was using. I like the Razer Manowar. I like the G933. The problem with both, well, the Razer Manowar, the band fell apart in 3 months. I was very disappointed with that. I was happy with it in my original review, and you'll probably see that. At this point, I hated it. So this isn't the Razer review, but just to compare this with its things at the time, this gets much better volume. It was clearer sound. I felt like it was worth it at the time. You may not. So you may want a cheaper option. So anyway, I hope all this was helpful. Please leave some comments with any questions or feedback if you've got it, and I'll be happy to respond as soon as I can. Thank you.